In this video, we'll see how to create a new area scheme for a project. We'll show how to create area plans that relate to the area scheme and place area boundaries. And we'll also see how to place areas in the model. The area of a building is one of the most important design aspects. Budgets and costs are often based on the square footage of a building, and even the number of people that can occupy the building is based on the area required per person. For example, a child in a classroom requires a minimum amount of space, and therefore the area of the classroom will limit the number of students that can occupy that class. I have the exercise file Create Areas open, and we can see the building that we will add the areas to. Before creating the areas, we must first create an area scheme. And to do this, from the Architecture ribbon tab, we'll click on the Rooms and Areas panel drop down, and then we'll select Area and Volume Computations. On the Area Schemes tab, I can see that we have gross building and rentable area schemes already here. So we'll click the New button on the right hand side to create a new scheme. I'll change its name to Zoning, and then we'll click OK to create that area scheme. Now we need to create area plans that relate to the new area scheme. So from the Architecture ribbon tab, on the Rooms and Areas panel here, we'll click the Area drop down and then click Area Plans. In the new Area Plan settings here, we'll change the type to be the zoning scheme that we just created. And now we need to select the levels that we want to create the area plans for. So we'll select floors 1, 2, 3 and 4. And then we'll click OK to create those plans. We'll be asked whether we want Revit to automatically create area boundaries that are associated to the external walls. So we'll click Yes, and then we'll click OK to any warnings that appear, and then we'll have to repeat this for each of the plans that we're creating. So once we've clicked Yes for the final plan, we can see that we're actually left in the Floor 4 area plan here, as this was the last one that was created. Now, looking at the project browser, we can see that we have a group for area plan zoning. And if I expand this out, we can see that we have the area plans for the different floors that we've created. And we can see that the floor 4 view is highlighted in bold here, as that's the current active view. Looking closer at the view itself, we can see that we have these purple area boundary lines. And these were the ones that were automatically created and associated with the external walls of the building. We need to add in some more area boundaries to divide the interior space. And to do this, we'll go to the Architecture ribbon tab, and on the Room and Area panel, we'll click the Area Boundary tool. Looking at the Place Area Boundary ribbon, we can see that we have the Draw tools available to us, and that the Pick Lines tool is currently active. Looking at the options bar, we can see we have the Apply Area Rules options checked. And now all we need to do is click on the walls that will divide the interior space of our floor plan. We'll click the wall that runs along the top of the corridor here, and then we'll click the vertical wall on the left here that returns back to the external wall. And then we'll also select the wall at the end of the corridor to close off the corridor here. Now we want to close in the other side of the corridor, but we don't actually have a continuous wall here to select, so we'll draw this one in a moment. So whilst we have the Pick Lines tool enabled, we'll pick on the wall at the left here that comes back to the external wall, and now we'll go up to the Draw panel on the ribbon and enable the Line tool. And now we can draw that line across the corridor to enclose that space. And then we'll draw down the side of the core just here to close that end off. We'll also enclose the corridor at the end of the tower too. And then the last bit we need to do is for the stair core here on the right hand side. So I'll enable the Rectangle tool from the ribbon now, and then we can just draw the rectangle over the top of the walls here. So now I'll click Modify to finish placing the area boundaries. And panning across to the tower just here, we can see that it doesn't quite follow the line of the wall, so I'll select the existing area boundary here, and then using the end controls here, we can just drag this round to enclose that space properly. And looking at these area boundary lines, we can see that some of them overlap and they don't all form perfect corners. However, this won't affect the areas, as the area rules determine the exact location of the lines depending on whether they are internal or external walls, and the area will take account of this when it's placed. So now we're ready to start placing the areas. So from the Architecture ribbon tab, on the Room and Area panel here, we'll click on the Area drop down, and this time we'll click the Area tool. Now we can see we have the Tag on Placement option enabled, so as we place the areas they'll automatically be tagged. Now as we go over the building here, as we go into one of those enclosed spaces, we can see the area filling that space, and now we just need to click to place that area in, and we can see now with the yellow shading here that that's filled that space for us. So we'll move to the next one here in the corridor and click to place that, and then in the core at the end. And now in the tower we'll place one there, and then finally in the stair core we can place that area there. And then that finishes placing the areas into floor 4, so I'll click Modify to finish this. So now we've got all the areas placed in. We'll zoom in a little bit closer and we can see the tag here, named as area, with the actual square footage beneath that. So we can select the tag and then click on the name itself to edit that, and we'll assign the name core into this area just here. We'll repeat it for the area next to us, and we'll name this one circulation. Moving across to the larger space, the first one that we placed, we'll select that tag and we'll name this office space. And then we'll go across to the stairwell here and we'll rename this one core. And then for the area in the tower, we'll change this one to be called office space. So now that we have all of the areas placed for floor 4, we can repeat this task for the rest of the building to create all of the areas that we need.